It truly is a simple form that can protect families from those nosy neighbors. They can demonstrate best practices in homeschooling, things that they're already doing.
A simple form was not so simple, was it? It created burdens on families across Illinois, our entire school system.
That was just some of the back and forth on the Friday before last Friday when the House was in session talking about the Homeschool Act. Tara Costa-Howard, a Democrat, versus Amy Ellich, a Republican, and that's just one of the hundreds of bills that we thought could happen, but didn't. And looking at the grand total here, welcome in. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. The running tally of bills that have passed the General Assembly House and the General Assembly Senate in Illinois totals 540. And they passed those in the week and a half that they were both in session. So the House, altogether in the week before last, passed 380 bills out of the House. 380. So they had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday was the busiest day. 117 bills passed the House. Tons of stuff. Obviously, it could take all day for us to break down all of those measures. But the House passed 380 bills that week. The Senate, they were in for 3 days, and they passed 109 bills on one day. Tons of those were shell bills. 44 on another day, and then they came in on Friday and passed 7 bills before they adjourned. The total number, 540, again, for the week that they were in the week before last. Clearly, there's a lot to be said about how much legislation has been passed and what exactly is, worthy of being legislation or not. And that's going to be up to each individual taxpayer. But 540 bills. Now, in the Senate, they did pass that measure, essentially saying that you have to lock up your firearms, safe gun storage, and a whole bunch of other things associated with that as well, like penalties if you don't report your firearms stolen after a certain amount of time. So clearly that's controversial. The Senate did pass that, and they passed it back over to the House. So the House can take that up now in the weeks ahead. But one measure that didn't pass the House, which we were waiting for late Thursday, because we didn't get out of there until like 10:30 Thursday, they did not end up bringing up the Homeschool Act, controversial legislation that would require homeschool parents to essentially notify the state that they homeschool their kids. But it would have also have lumped homeschool in with private school and tons of other regulations that go along with that in being considered a private school. So homeschool parents en masse, tens of thousands of them, ultimately filed witness slips against the measure. So the opposition was mounting, and it came time for some clarity on if the measure was going to be brought up, Friday being the bill deadline day. Tara Costa-Howard getting up to her microphone in the House and saying that, the bill was not ready yet.
I rise today to talk about the Homeschool Act. The intention of everyone involved in this bill was to create new protections for children and families. It truly is a simple form that can protect families from those nosy neighbors. They can demonstrate best practices in homeschooling, things that they're already doing, keeping records of a child's progress, and the many different things that they can learn. But most important, it provides a tool to make sure children do not go dark and missing. We want to know they are okay. There is nothing in this bill that requires a curriculum. There is nothing in this bill that requires a mandates of vaccination. The truancy laws that are included in this bill are the exact same truancy laws that we have here in Illinois right now. And so does Virginia, and so does the state of Wisconsin. We know we still have work to do on this bill. And based on the comments in committee, I look forward to the specific language that was recommended by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle and was said in their press conference. Protecting our children is a moral imperative. But finally, on a personal level, I am deeply sorry and disappointed that some people would use this as an opportunity to sow seeds of anger and fear by actively spreading misinformation to make people afraid rather than work together on the real issues. And that is to make sure children receive an education and that they don't disappear until tragedy strikes. Remember, Illinois is an outlier in this area. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin. 38 states care enough about these kids to make sure they're okay. We are an outlier. To the victims who are out there, we see you, we hear you, and we will keep fighting for you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Clearly, Costa Howard signaling that the bill wasn't ready yet, but also signaling that they're not done with this piece of legislation. Now, one thing that I think is kind of eye-opening to people, and I've heard this from people on the ground at the Capitol, going to the Capitol to talk to their legislators about policy issues they want to have passed. And their legislators come back and say, oh, it's too late, the deadline's approached, and we've missed the deadlines. That's not really true, because there are procedural moves that the legislature can do, like gut and replace, like taking a bill, a shell bill, and it's already passed one chamber. All they did was cross out the and replaced it with the, so it passes the House and is now sitting in the Senate. They can go and grab that in the last week of the General Assembly, gut and replace it, pass it out of the Senate, and then it just has to be concurred on by the House. So it shortens up the time frame of getting something across the finish line before May 31st. So that's a very real procedure that happens every year. And we see it with the budget. We see it with the budget implementation bill. We see it with like the gun ban. We saw it with the Safety Act. We saw it with the no cash bail provision as part of the Safety Act. So clearly, this is something that happens with controversial legislation. So is the Homeschool Act done? Or could it come back up in some form under a different bill name or number? We'll be watching for that. Amy Ellich, a Republican from Alton, she got up after Tara Costa Howard made her comments and said, listen, homeschool parents need to be vigilant in all of this.
I'd like to discuss the previous representative's comments on the homeschooling bill. The fact of the matter is this bill was doomed from the beginning. A simple form was not so simple, was it? It created burdens on families across Illinois, our entire school system, and nobody seems to care that that was going to cost our schools and our families valuable resources that could be spent instead on fixing our public school system that often fails children. So instead, the sponsor has blamed misinformation instead of listening to families. The over 130,000 times that families went to the website and filed in opposition, they just want to be heard, they just want to be listened to. The sponsor blamed families instead of fixing the broken DCFS child welfare system. Good homeschooling families are not to be faulted for the problems of childhood abuse and neglect. Thinking that a form was going to fix this was never going to work. The bill was doomed from the beginning. I'm glad that she has agreed to hold it on third. That was important. But I can tell you our families still feel like they are under attack and walking on eggshells in Illinois. That happens all the time in this chamber. Let's start listening to our families. Thank you.
Again, Amy Ellich, Republican from Alton, talking about how she still feels that homeschool families need to be vigilant in all of this. Obviously, here we are, April 21st. The end of session is May 31st, and that means these next few weeks here, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be pretty intense. So bear with us. here and get the latest. I get paid to go to the Capitol and watch all this and distill it down for you the following morning. That's why we have Illinois in Focus Daily. So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, get over to thecentersquare.com and get the newsletter as well to get the headlines in your inbox. Even though I was off last week, hopefully you got plenty of headlines from the Illinois team with the Center Square. Kevin Bessler, Jim Talamonte, and others still hard at work even though I took the week off. So back at it with Illinois in Focus Daily. We'll see you back here, obviously, each and every weekday morning. Get the podcast where you get podcasts, and don't forget about the clips of the show, so you can find those uninterrupted as well at the Center Square on YouTube.